Hey everyone, Warwick's here. So if you remember around the Dragonflight announcement, Blizzard said they wanted to get these talent trees out early so that the class communities could start taking a look at some of these talent trees and give feedback very early on in the process. This is one of the biggest features of Shadowland system, or excuse me, of Dragonflight systems, and they kept their word. Druid and DK ones have been out. We're in the middle of doing the Druid series. This video we're doing Guardian Druid. I've already done Feral in the last video and Balanced Druid in the first, along with the Druid's base tree in that very first video, so make sure you're checking those out if you want to get my thoughts on the base Druid tree, and then come find whatever spec you want. So let's jump right in with Guardian Druid. Alright, so Guardian row 1, Maul, main talent, no surprise, with Ironfur being in the main Druid class tree, makes sense for Maul to be here as a Guardian specific offensive raged up. So row 2, Gore, so this is an... Ooh, was this a... I think this was an old Azurite trait. Basically, when you thrash, swipe, moonfire, maul, you get a reset on Mangle, and it causes it to generate an additional 4 rage. It generates 8 rage baseline, so this is 12 rage, which makes it similar to Raging Blow in terms of its rage generation. So good. I really like this. I think this is actually the baseline proc now that I think about it. So good to have it back. Survival Instincts back, of course, as well. No shock. We already get our first choice node, Brambles. This is kind of like looking at the 15 row. They took Brambles, which basically makes your bark skin an offensive cooldown. We like that. So always good if you feel comfortable with the damage intake that you're taking. It was always recommended that you switch from Bristling Fur or what was the other talent? The one that just made Thrash generate rage passively, and you switch to Brambles because it gave you more damage. Bristling Fur is an active ability where you would generate rage based on damage that you took. So if you knew a big damaging event was coming in, you'd activate Bristling Fur before it happens, and then you get a big influx of rage essentially when that big damage strikes you. So interesting choice. I lean towards Brambles as a somewhat experienced Guardian player. Haven't played it in a long time, but I would say Brambles will probably be a default choice, with Bristling Fur being useful for like raid situations where having that rage generation on demand for big damage events is going to be useful. All right, improved Bear Form or Ursine Adept. I'm probably still finalizing the name. Gives the additional stamina and everything usable in Bear Form, just like it gets with Feral Druid. Great. Improved Survival Instincts, giving you that second charge. Cool. Improved Mangle. This is a leveling perk already, so it deals 20% additional damage against bleeding targets. Great, like that. Innate Resolve. This is a current. Is this a current endurance conduit? I believe. Basically, you get more frenzied regen healing on yourself. This is at the baseline 12%. So cool, we take that. Bear Druid does like to have some innate self-sustain. It's not on the level of like VDH or Blood Decay, but there is a lot of passive healing going on with Bear Druid a lot of the time. So anything that helps that, we'll take it. Infected Wounds. So this lets Mangle give you a 50% movement reduction. So again, a single target kite. Great. Berserk Ravage. So again, we're getting a lot of this in the Feral Druid tree video. Go look at that. But this basically makes it so that you're kind of getting the first portion of Incarnation, where you would get that 100% reduction, so you basically can spam Thrash all the time. Cool. Ursoc's Endurance increases the duration of Bark Skin and Iron Fur by 1 second. Cool. Looks like it has 2 points there. Doesn't say here if it's in multiple point talent, but based on this screenshot, it kind of looks like it does. And then Gory Fur, Mangle has a 15% to reduce the rage cost of your next Iron Fur by 20%. So this actually was in Maul and attached to Maul in BFA, which you usually grabbed one trait of if you could get it. So they renamed it. I don't remember what it was called in BFA, but they definitely renamed it because I would remember Gory Fur, which is a cool name. So this brings an old Azurite trait back into the mix to give you potential on Iron Fur, and they attached it to Mangle, which is a much higher priority rotation ability. So very cool. Little proc to kind of respond to. We like it. Oh my god, this name. Alright, so we're in row 5. I'm a child, y'all. Positive outlook. Thrash has a 10 to 20% chance to trigger an additional Thrash, 2-rank talent. We take that. I think that's a legendary right now. Part of, I think, Berserk Fury remembered. Scintillating Moonlight. Moonfire reduces damage dealt. Okay. I like that. Very cool. Tooth and Claw. This is a 50-row talent coming back in now. It got heavily nerfed in beta, but, you know, with it potentially being an option there, along with, you know, something like Rend and Tear, which looks like it's a choice in the bottom row. I think this is cool. It helps it with its offensive output a little bit. So, Layered Mane. This is a Azurite trait / Endurance Conduit that has come back. It's still around, giving you a chance to get 2 applications of it. Fantastic. Earth Warden, a talent that's taken by almost universally right now. So when you deal direct damage with Thrash, you get a charge of Earth Warden, which makes the next auto attack give you a reduction by 30%, and up to 3 charges can be used. Doesn't sound like this is a lot. Like, oh, it's an auto attack. Like, if you look at the healing done of a Resto Druid log, a big portion of it is Earth Warden, reducing that damage, because it does, for whatever reason, that reduction does clock on healing meters. So Earth Warden is usually a big part, if not the biggest part of Resto Druid healing. So this is actually a very powerful talent. Glad to see it's back and very accessible, it looks like, as well. Twin Moonfire, cool, just like it does with the Twin Moon talent from Balanced Druid. Gives Moonfire a cleave, very cool. Galactic Guardian, one of my favorite talents personally. Get an automatic Moonfire that does 8 rage generation and big 300% increased direct damage, so you could technically spec into both. That gives you more chances to proc Galactic Guardian. So some synergies there, very cool. Vulnerable Flesh. Maul has an additional 30% chance to crit at 2 ranks. So this part of the tree looks like it really leans into the offensive side of the tree, so that's interesting approach there. Vicious Cycle. Mangle increases damage every next Maul. Maul increases damage every next Mangle. This was an old Azurite trait. It had a different name, but it's there. It encourages the use of Maul, actually, when you're not needing it for defensive purposes. So I could see you going into this side of the tree pretty heavily if you're like the off tank that's not primarily tanking. You get a little bit more offensive output. Yeah, potential there. And then on the end of the row is Reinforced Fur. Iron Fur increases armor by an additional 4%. Barkskin reduces damage by an additional 5%. So even around kind of this offensive side, this middle portion of the tree, like right in here, looks to be like this very offensive focused aspect. You get this good defensive talent on the end. Reinforced Fur, I think you're going to be taking it a lot. All right, on the next row, Berserk. Persistence. Go Berserk for 15 seconds, reducing the cooldown of Frenzy Regeneration by 100%. Cost of Iron Fur by 50%. So this is another part of the current Incarnation talent. They've kind of split it off and made it all into like different aspects of Berserk. So very cool. I'm sure this will be taken because this is a very popular aspect of the talent now. Alright. Fury of Nature. While in bear form, you deal increased arcane damage, so it makes Moonfire better? You don't really do any other arcane damage as bear. That's interesting. Front of the pack, increases your movement speed by 10% baseline. That's cool. And then it does the front of the pack finesse conduit, war and radius by 30% in terms of radius and duration. So great utility for bear that they love having. That was baseline for all druids. They shifted it back into a niche for Guardian. Gives them a small piece of raid utility for movement speed. It's niche, but it's very good. Right, Berserk, Unchecked Aggression. Go Berserk for 15 seconds, increasing haste by 15% and reducing the rage cost of Maul by 10, combined with other Berserk abilities. So yeah, what it looks like they've done with these Berserk effects is that they've basically taken Incarnation and split everything that it does into these different aspects of Berserk that you can like proc all at once. So you eventually use Berserk, its benefits, and all the benefits of Incarnation. Like, that's how I'm interpreting it, at least. And then they're still making Incarnation a thing, I think, so we're gonna have to see how they make it work. Alright, row 8, right here we get a choice. Dream of Cenarius. When you take non-periodic damage, you have a chance equal to your crit strike chance to cause your next regrowth to be free, instant, and castable in all forms. Ooh. This, I think, is going to be a very good single target. And makes crit strike a little bit more valuable for Bear Druid. Does it compete with Ursoc's Fury? I do not know. But this is interesting. I kind of like this. Dream of Cenarius. Ursox Fury, we know. It's the Ursox Fury Remembered, giving you Absorb Shield on Thrash. Going to be very good in AoE because you just spam Thrash all the time and you just never die. Dream of Cenarius, I think, is going to be a little bit more useful in single target situations where you can have, again, more of that sustained Frenzied Regen and Regrowth now being instant usable in bear form. So, cool. Right here, Elun's Favored. Deal 30% increase arcane damage and are healed for 30% of arcane damage done. Okay. Now this little section of the talent tree from right here all the way down here now starts to make more sense. It makes Moonfire very powerful for your build. Great. Anything that empowers bear damage, I'm in for, even if it's in Moonfire. Great. Legendary Circle of Life and Death. Back again. Cool. And then our choice node, Guardian of Elune, increases the direction of your next Iron Fur by 2 seconds or the healing of your next Frenzied Regeneration by 20%. I think this is a legendary? Or is it an old Nazarite trait? It's one of the two. But I've seen this effect before. I don't remember where. Then after the Wildfire, each time you spend 200 rage, you need to hereby allege for 3% of your maximum health. Okay, so Iron Fur is 40 rage, and you use it a lot. So you would need to use like 8 Iron Furs, I think? So take, what, 8 Iron Furs? Or... no, 5 Iron Furs to proc that. Yeah, that's not that many. You get a lot of them. And if Convoke is down here, you proc Iron Furs a lot in that. So does it work off the Iron Furs you proc in Convoke? Maybe. Alright, row 9. So we're right here. Reinvigoration. Cooldown reduction by 10% on Frenzied Regen. Cool. Take free Frenzied Regen off the GCD. Pulverize. This is a level 50 talent that is now coming baseline. It adds complexity to the bear rotation. So, you know, again, bear druid mains, tell me if this is something that you're happy about. I could care less. I never really cared about Pulverize in BFA when it was good, and I don't care about it now. So, for me, whatever. Alright. Alright, so Convoke the Spirits. Back, of course. Incarnation, Guardian of Ursoc, an improved bear form that grants all of your known Berserk effects. Causes a Mangle to hit up to 3 targets. Okay, so what they've done basically is they split all the effects of Incarnation, Guardian of Ursoc out into these Berserk effects, but kept the Mangle 3 targets, and then they gave it a 30% health boost to kind of make the talent feel useful. So, again, single target AoE, I think that's the choice that we're making here. That's at least my initial interpretation, so if that's the case, fantastic. And then we get a choice node here as well, Blood Frenzy. This is the talent I was mentioned earlier. Thrash also generates 2 times it deals damage. I think this is an AoE thing. Soul of the Forest. Mango generates 5 more rage and deals 25% more damage. I think that's going to be more single target focused. We like both. Cool. And then Survival Instinct, or Survival of the Fittest. A talent now, so we take it. Sorry, guys, my phone's going off. I've got to get ready to go coach T-ball as soon as I'm done making this video. I'll have to do the rest of Druid one later. But we're going to do it. Alright, and then Survival of the Fittest. So on the last row, we get our 3 talents here. Untamed Savagery increases the damage and radius of Thrash by 25%. Very cool. Rend and Tear. Each stack of Thrash reduces the target's damage to you by 2%. Increases the damage you do to them by 2%. I would like to see this be... Ooh, I think this is a tough choice because I'd like to see both of these make their way into the talent tree baseline. So... Improved Incarnation and Convoke. This is the same as the other 2 specs. Basically, you get a cooldown, a CDR portion if you shift out of your form before Incarnation is over. And then Convoke the Spirits has an increased chance to use an exceptional spell or ability. I don't remember what it is for Guardian Druid, but it's basically what the Celestial Spirits, first half of the Celestial Spirits is now, minus the CDR. Alright, and then Rage of the Sleeper. I think this is an old legendary trait. Unleashes the Rage of Ursoc for 10 seconds, preventing 25% of all damage you take and reflecting nature damage back to your attackers. While active, you're immune to the loss of crowd control effects. That's cool. I like that. I think that's a cool little cooldown. Overall, I really like this tree. I think they've added some interesting offensive effects baked into Moonfire, making Moonfire feel really valuable and very important as part of your overall Guardian Druid ability, your kit. I think that's really cool. They've added some nice offensive talents that we had to skip out on in favor of stuff that's better, like Tooth and Claw. And I like this Rage of the Sleeper. I think that's a really strong, powerful defensive effect to go on top of Bark Skin and Survival Instincts. So overall, I'm really happy with this Guardian tree. If you're a Guardian main, please tell me in the comments below what you think of this. And we're going to go ahead and get started with Resto Druid in the next video, guys. So we'll go ahead and get done with that. So stay safe, keep gaming, have fun, and I'll see you in the next video.